Several faculty members have filed grievances against UTB and TSC.
And the City of Brownsville is revising the boundaries of its single-member districts.
The Collegian News is brought to you in part by the Career Services Office, coaching students to explore, experience, and excel in their careers.
The UTB and TSC Student Health Services Veterans Resource Department and Criminal Justice Department invites all veterans on campus and the community to join us at the Resource Expo on Tuesday, November 20th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. in the Endowment Courtyard. The expo will provide veterans with information about the many agencies that offer benefits and other veterans organizations that advocate for veterans resources. For more information, call Student Health Services at 956-882-3896.
Winter and Spring 2013 online courses. Registration starts soon. Visit utb.edu/online.
Welcome to the Collegian News. I'm Corey Aiken.
And I'm Vanessa Garduño, filling in for Marlene Rodriguez to bring you this week's top stories.
4 of the 89 faculty members who received notice that they will be laid off in May due to the separation of UT Brownsville and Texas Southmost College are fighting the reduction in force. Collegian editor Joe Molina has the story.
4 tenured faculty members have filed grievances against the University of Texas at Brownsville and Texas Southmost College after receiving termination notices that take effect May 31, 2013. The faculty members belong to the Texas Faculty Association, which has assisted them in filing the grievances. The members, whom the TFA will not identify, received tenure before UTB and TSC entered into a partnership agreement in 1992. UTB-TSC Provost Alan Ardaby said during an interview November 6 that the university would have far less of a demand for faculty.
We were also, under the terms of separation, unable any longer as UTB to offer associate degrees or certificate programs. So we did some logical thinking and determined that we would lose about half of our students.
He instructed departmental committees comprised of the department's dean, chair, and faculty members of each rank to provide him with their determination of faculty to downsize.
So the charges were tailored to every department. There's no generalized rule. The only generalized rule was that since we're moving to a 4-year academic type institution, is that with the exception of the department of the College of Education, doctorates in education were not treated the same as a PhD in field.
Terrence Garrett, TFA's local chapter president and a UTB government professor, told the Collegian that the university's process for departmental purges was kept a secret, something that a public state university should not have done.
I wasn't aware of the process until I started receiving complaints from members. So they kept it secretive, even though this is a public university. It should never have been kept secretive. And we're very much concerned that perhaps the UT system, through this university, was using this technique of reduction in force, or right size, or whatever euphemism you want to call it.
Correct.
To basically strip the rights of tenure from faculty. We're concerned about that.
Regarding the promised positions for faculty employed on or before 1992, when the university and the college entered a partnership, Rosa Ramirez, a staff attorney for Texas State Teachers Association, said requests for contracts for his clients were rejected.
When these two institutions were joined together, there is a written contract that says that these tenured professors are guaranteed to have a lateral transfer if these two institutions ever separate, and that hasn't happened. So our grievance, we have also filed a grievance against TSC, the local college.
The Collegian was unable to obtain an interview with TSC President Lily Tercero or Vice President for Finance and Administration Chet Lewis for comment on the matter. Instead, Lewis provided a statement on November 1st via email, emphasizing that TSC had not been involved in the development of processes or decisions regarding UTB personnel. Regarding staff right-sizing, the provost said he expects to begin notifying staff whether they will be retained as early as February of next year. For the Collegian News, I'm Joe Molina.
UTB-TSC paid tribute to veterans last Thursday. Collegian reporter Stacy Found was there.
Those who have served and those currently serving in the uniformed services of the United States are ever mindful that the sweetness of enduring peace has always been tainted by bitterness of personal sacrifice. We are compelled never to forget that while we enjoy our daily pleasures, there are others who have endured and may still be enduring the agonies of pain, deprivation, and imprisonment. Before we continue with our activities, we pause to recognize our POWs and MIAs. We call you to your attention this small table, which occupies a place of dignity and honor. It is set for 5, symbolizing the fact that members of our armed forces are still missing from our ranks. They are referred to as POWs and MIAs.
Hundreds of people turned out for the UTB-TSC Veterans Day ceremony last Thursday. Keynote speaker Brigadier General Orlando Salinas said since being at war for the last 11 years, the U.S. has the largest population of veterans since the Vietnam War. As the U.S. nears conclusion of combat operation in Afghanistan, the Army will get smaller. More than 130,000 will return home this year, and more than 500,000 will return by 2017.
After so many years, we no longer see red, white, and blue on our flag. We see names and faces. We are here today to celebrate the strength, the courage, the dedication of our veterans, who not only wield the hammer of conflict, but also shape the world for lasting peace.
UT Brownsville President Juliet V. Garcia said G.I. Jobs magazine recently named UTB-TSC among the top 15% of schools that delivered the best experience for the military students.
Our university's Veteran Upward Bound program was the first of its kind to be offered in the state of Texas.
Among those students is Omar Hernandez Duque, a former participant in the Veterans Upward Bound program.
On my 18th birthday, and while still in high school, I enlisted in the Air Force. And this was due to my stepfather, Aaron Dean. He himself was also an Air Force veteran and a Security Forces troop, just like I was. I spent my days in the Air Force bouncing between Malmstrom Air Force Base and the Sandbox. My fellow friends at the VUB will scoff at my relatively eventless tours, but as with them, I serve with honor and I serve with pride.
How many years has UTB-TSC had a Veterans Day ceremony?
Well, I started here as the program director for Veterans Upward Bound back in 2000, and ever since then, immediately that year, I started the Veterans Day celebration here at UTB.
What did you think today about the ceremony?
Well, I thought it was a great way to celebrate the veterans that we have here at UTB and also the veterans that have served in the United States. I think it's important just to pay tribute to what they've done and like what they sacrificed, what they have to go through to protect the country's freedom.
For the Collegian News, I'm Stacy Found.
The Brownsville City Commission has given the green light to new boundaries for single-member districts. Collegian reporter Alex Rodriguez fills us in.
The Brownsville City Commission has approved new single-member district boundaries. Last Tuesday, Ramiro Gonzalez, the city's comprehensive planning manager, discussed the federal guidelines for the boundaries. Gonzalez said the new plan meets all the standards and has to be adopted before the next election. Once approved at the city level, it must get federal approval.
That we wanted clear boundaries and not really something that you're on one side of the street and you're on the other side of the street, you're in one district or another.
District 3 Commissioner Melissa Zamora suggested that the public be informed.
We all know and we all had an opportunity to work with you, and I appreciate it. I think this is great. It makes it more fair and even, but the community needs to know who potentially could become their commissioner and what district they could potentially reside in.
For the Collegian News, I'm Alex Rodriguez.
The Student Government Association will honor 2 student leaders with graduation rings. Magali Rosales has the details.
The UTB-TSC Student Government Association will foot the bill for 2 graduation rings that will be awarded to outstanding student leaders. During its meeting last Tuesday, the SGA approved Resolution Number 13, which allocates no more than $1,200 to buy the rings, which will be presented to the honorees during the ring ceremony November 30th. The students are chosen based on a grade point average of 2.75 or higher, at least 75 completed credit hours, and campus and community leadership experience. Later in the meeting, the agenda was amended to include the appointment of junior chemistry major Miguel Gonzalez as a senator at large. Yareli Iglesias, Senator for the College of Biomedical Science and Health Professions, asked Gonzalez if he had previous leadership experience.
I'm a lab coordinator. I work in a microbiology lab, so there I have to take the initiative on my own a lot. I don't really rely on my PI. He just assigns me a project, and I go forward from there according to what I feel is necessary to proceed with the project.
The Senate also discussed the possibility of organizing a food drive and sending the donated items to victims of Superstorm Sandy, which struck the East Coast October 29, killing scores of people and causing billions of dollars in damage. The SGA meets at 8:15 a.m. every Tuesday in Student Union 2.16. For the Collegian News, I'm Magali Rosales.
Mexico's Day of the Dead traditions were observed on the UTB-TSC campus November 2nd. Kayla Contreras files this report.
The living and the dead were reunited November 2nd. UTB-TSC students and local residents honored their deceased loved ones in the Day of the Dead parade organized by the Office of Student Life and Assistant Behavioral Science Professor Leslie Meyer. About 300 participants marched in the parade while wearing traditional Mexican clothing with their faces painted and holding candles. Meyer students gave a presentation on the altars they created in the Student Union's La Sala.
The top level, the altar, represents the past. You see on the picture right there, it's where they have items from when they were children or family souvenirs or different objects that remind them of the past.
Sculptures were created for El Viaje hacia la Muerte, or the Trip to Death. Student Life Director Sergio Martinez pointed out why this is celebrated.
We celebrate it because I think it's a good way to promote a Mexican culture to our students. You know, a lot of them are Hispanic, identify themselves as Latinos, but they don't actually understand the culture from Mexico, and we saw this as an opportunity for our students to do research on it and then share their research with the campus community.
Sophomore nursing major Felix Gracia explains the meaning of his coffin sculpture.
The meaning is mainly just celebrating your own family past, any relatives or anything like that. It's just showing them respect and celebrating that they passed and that we still honor them and we still love them.
For the Collegian News, I'm Kayla Contreras.
Here's Alex Rodriguez with this week's segment of I Think.
The I Think question of the week is, what are your plans for Thanksgiving?
Every Thanksgiving, my family and I get together at my house, and this time it'll be particularly special because my sister's coming down from El Paso, and we get to see our little baby nephew finally, so we're pretty excited.
Meeting my family, hanging out, and obviously have a beautiful Thanksgiving dinner.
So for Thanksgiving, I think my girlfriend's family and I, we're gonna get together combine our families and have a big Thanksgiving dinner.
For the Collegian News, I'm Alex Rodriguez.
Collegian reporter Samantha Ruiz has this week's sports roundup.
There were sweet beginnings and bitter endings for UTB-TSC athletics. The defending NAIA National Championship UTB-TSC volleyball team is beginning its road to nationals again, competing in the Red River Athletic Conference tournament in Fort Worth last weekend. UTB-TSC, ranked number 2 in the National Association of Intercollegiate Athletics, was scheduled to play at 4:30 p.m. last Friday against the stringer of Our Lady of the Lake University and Texas Wesleyan University. The winner of Friday's match was to advance to the conference championship game at 1 p.m. last Saturday. Results were not available. The NAIA National Championship game will be held after Thanksgiving. Athletics Director and head volleyball coach Todd Lowry said if the team continues to work hard, it can make it to nationals again.
I think we have the talent to be there. I think there's 3 or 4 teams that are really good this year, and it's just going to come down to who plays the best volleyball that last weekend.
The UTB-TSC women's soccer team, meanwhile, ended the regular season as champions with a 9-0-1 record and earned the number 1 seed in the Red River Athletic Conference tournament. They began competing in the tournament last Friday against semi-final opponent Our Lady of the Lake University in Cedar Hill. Results were unavailable. Making all-conference first team are junior forward Isadora Freitas, freshman midfielders Nicole Here and Tabata Vieira, and senior defender Abigail Perez. On the all-conference second team are junior forward Naleki Smits, sophomore midfielder Monica Mendez, sophomore defender Sarah Regalado, and sophomore goalie Amanda Fulton. Head coach Nick Bayartarevich was named Conference Coach of the Year. The season turned sour, however, for the UTB-TSC men's soccer team, who ended its season in anger and tears after a double overtime loss of 2-1 against the Northwood University Knights at home November 3rd. The men ended in the Red River Athletic Conference quarterfinals with an overall record of 9-6-3 and a Red River Athletic record of 8-4. Scoring the only goal for UTB-TSC that day was forward Leonardo Medeiros. In an interview with the Collegian last Thursday, head coach Dan Balaguero said he was disappointed with the overall season, but the team will move forward and will not be making many changes to the program for next year.
Need to, make sure we bring in the right players, but in terms of the actual structure of the program and everything else, there's not a whole lot what's going to change.
That's it for this week's Sports Roundup. For the Collegian News, I'm Samantha Reese.
That's it for the Collegian News webcast. I'm Vanessa Garduño.
And I'm Corey Aiken. We now leave you with footage of the Frida Kahlo presentation. Have a great day.
Despierta, mi bien, despierta, mira que ya amaneció. Ya los pajaritos cantan, la luna ya se metió. Happy birthday to you. A tanto a los fieles difuntos, pues para que no descansen en paz. Que salgan los esqueletos de sus lúgubres sepulcros a comerse sus tostaditas, su salsita picante, con todo amor preparado por mí, por su mana Frida Kahlo.